Hey, Steve Zook, welcome back to Pokesoo Channel and the Guitar Ladder System. I know I can't put this LH600 down. It just sounds so sweet. It's just like the notes just kind of bloom and unfold. It's really got a beautiful, really beautiful high-end tone. A lot of guitar for $9.99. Hey, I want to do a video now. I want to call it How to Practice. I really don't think a lot of people realize how important good practice is. I mean, there's times when we just play our guitar and that's cool. We all just want to have fun. But personally, I like to practice at least 2 hours a day because I want to keep evolving and growing and learning new ideas, getting better at my technique, getting better at hearing ideas and finding them on the guitar. And that's what the Guitar Ladder System is all about, by the way. You'll learn the 10 different systems of improvisation in a very organic manner without a bunch of busy work, without putting things in a box and a cute little formula. I teach the subconscious mind. I wake up the artist within. I wake up your musical mind. I wake up your musical ear so you can begin to hear your own ideas and find them. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit about practice. It's so important. I spend probably at least an hour and a half to 2 hours a day just on single notes, because that develops a lot of strength, which is helpful for everything, chordal work, single notes and everything. And I just want to, I'm inspired by people like Al Di Meola and Borelli LeGrand and John McLaughlin, people like that, to have very powerful single notes. But I think a lot of people don't realize how important it is and how cumulative correct practice is. If you sit there and I like to do muting because muting creates a little more tension in the right hand. If you just take a major scale and you do like a sequence scale with mute, right there, I am building technique. You don't have to play fast to build technique. It's just the opposite. If you play slow and clean, you're building technique every time you do that. So I like to mute because it creates more tension. Also, just having the fingers tucked up and just the right hand floating free, which is a little bit harder, but it's really good for you. Just little sequence scales. Make up different ones. See, every time I do that, and placing accent is huge. Place the accent, bam, bam. You can even overdo it, because that accent later becomes a reference point for how the lick or the idea feels to your body and to your right hand and left hand, kind of on a technical level. It gives you a reference point. So, I mean, practicing is so, so important. I've shared licks in the past, like diminished licks. Whoops. I can't believe how great this 600 sounds. This exact one is available. I'm barely warmed up. I know I missed a note there. It didn't come out real clean, so I should slow it down, right? When I missed that one note, I was actually thinking about the fact that I was doing, all down picking as opposed to up and down. It's good to do all down picking. There's a lot of power and definition there. It's good to do all up strokes, and it's good to do alternate picking. But the main point I'm just trying to make on this video is, really slow, clear practicing with single notes is so good for you. And I tend to do it in different tunings too. I'm really getting into classical guitar these days. I use a kind of a flamenco tuning where I make the G an F sharp and make the low E a D and really create some beautiful, beautiful chords. But the point I'm just trying to make here is if you can, spend an hour a day or 2 hours a day and just play slow and clean. Hear that accent? And I like to use the muting because it creates a little more tension. You can use different scales. And you can combine. You can do some with mute, and then get rid of the mute. You can change, you know, scales and lick. There, I'm in a diminished, right? And so it's really, really important that you play slow and clean. Okay, every time you do that, you're building technique. Okay, you can do what I've talked about before, which is like 5s and 7s. Like, this is really powerful. It will teach your hand to flutter, or you can do 7s. Or combine them. I'm probably tuned a little low. So it's basically, I know this is old news to a lot of you guys out there, but you'd be surprised a lot of people that don't realize the power of this, because when you're playing slow, sometimes you don't realize that you're actually getting a benefit while you're doing that. But you are. Sometimes I like to do a lick and end it with a chord, which is kind of cool, like the 13 flat 9. Now I'm tuned a little bit low here, so you might hear a little bit of slight buzzing, but this guitar is unbelievable. There's kind of a gypsy scale to the 13 flat 9. Even just playing it that slow. And like I said, maybe a few different combinations, like you can do it with the mute. Work your single notes with muting to create a little more tension. Think about accenting. Bam, bam, bam. Okay. You can like have the hands just free floating without the fingers, you know, being out and without muting. You need to fall in love with repetition. I am in love with repetition because I see the tremendous results. Even at 65, I feel like my technique's getting better because I still spend 2 hours a day on single note studies, you know. And it's really exciting. It's not just about playing fast. It also helps you learn to play with weight, helps you learn to bring more tone out of your instrument. The more strength and power and agility that you get, both in left hand and right hand. Now, I'm talking a lot about right hand right now, but the more power you get in the right hand, the more tone you get out of your guitar. Even playing slower, you just learn to create more body and more weight in your right hand, and that brings out tone. You learn how to bring out tone out of your instrument, out of any instrument. Like I said, doing all downs, doing all ups. So just remember, play slow. And clean. Anyway, I'm going to make this video short, but yeah, I'm just having such a ball. This guitar sounds so sweet. I'm gonna miss this one. Anyway, all right, folks, take care. Play slow and clean. Place accents. Slow down. Every time you do something slow and clean, you're building technique. You may not see it for a while, but believe me, it's like going over to the bank and putting $500 in your account. Every time you do that, it's going to add up. So building technique is one of the most exciting things you can do. You have to discipline yourself to do it correctly. And you have to realize that every time you play slow and clean, you're building technique, and it's cumulative as hell. That's what's really fun about practices. I used to do 4 to 6 hours a day of single notes when I was like in my early 20s. I was crazy, But you talk to a lot of guitar players that have taken it to a pretty far level, and they'll say they did the same thing at some point in time. You don't need to do that, but if even if you can just spend an hour or two a day playing really slow and clean, it's really going to help you out. I also suggest you try to do color shifting a lot. Like, don't just stick with one. Maybe you're doing a major scale and then go to a harmonic minor. Maybe do some arpeggios. Try to do a variety of scale types. All right, folks, take care. Let's all focus on positive thoughts and creating your own perfect universe. Take care.